Alright guys, the final stretch for Underpriest Brogni. We're almost there. We have all the events, all the tournaments. We've planned accordingly. We've executed perfectly. And we just got one more surprise from Plarium. Absolutely amazing. Let me quickly start with a recap of yesterday for you guys. So we had the Spider tournament start. I worked on it. I used a lot of today's energy last night at the server reset. And then with today's energy, I was able to finish my 15 fragments of Skimfos. That is technically going to be in today's review. We had the champion training tournament appear this morning. I'll get back to that in a second. But then we also had the Dungeon Divers event, which got somewhat completed as we were working on Skimfos. So I did get the 15 fragments from Giscard yesterday. All right. So technically for my yesterday's recap, this is where I stand with all my fragments. Giscard is now complete. I confused this guy. If you saw yesterday's video, you know I pulled a Mordecai. In fact, I pulled two in the same pull. So now I don't have to finish this, but I will technically play as if I'm trying to finish everything. We have the Fenchi fragments at 65 and Skimfos is now at 55. So there's 5 days left. Let's go check out the plan to see how all this looks, which got modified a little bit because of the daily breakdown and the order in which we are getting the fragments. So if you pay attention to the news section, and either this is just written in alphabetical order, which might make sense. It is not technically the order. No, you know what? It doesn't make sense here. So I thought this was going to be the order of the fragments we get for each event and tournament. But for example, the Dungeon Divers event number 2 says Fenchi, Giscard, and Skimfos the consumed. But when you look at it on the plan, it's actually Giscard, Skimfos, Fenchi, right? So not exactly the same. And this could be somewhat misleading, although it doesn't really matter if you gotta get everything. But it did modify the daily breakdown here. But now we finally have all the values. So this is it. This is the final stretch. You'll see that my Mordecai fragments are in red because I pulled 2 yesterday. So technically, I don't really need to finish this, but I will keep playing as if I am trying to. The energy requirement got reduced by quite a bit. That has to do with the champion training tournament, which is at 4,200 points instead of 8,000 as we imagined it could have been. I was going based on prior events and tournaments from the other fusions, right? The shards, I also put the values of which I thought I was going to use, but again, I stopped before. Only one fusion was completed, sorry, which was Yoshi during the champion chase tournament. We've got no chickens used so far, no gems used so far, a couple potions, or these potions basically still have not used them, but this is what I'm going to use, and a couple of brews. But guys, we're still doing pretty good, except this one thing, this one little thing that they just had to do. Plarium loves to just give us extra surprises. And this time it came into the form of an artifact enhancement event for 3 days with the highest milestones we've ever seen before for 15 fragments. Okay, I get it. It's for a Void Epic Champion. This therefore justifies increasing the difficulty of this to literally a level we have never seen before. Here's Yoshi. Here's artifact enhancement number 1, and then here's the number 2. Nowhere close to this amount. What about Astralon? Same thing for Astralon. It was at 2,600 points over 3 days, 2,000 points for the first one. What about even prior to all this? Iron Brago, 2,600 points, and we had, of course, 2,000 points. So you kind of see the pattern here is that this is what we were expecting. Also, if you look at how the plan is laid out, based on the length of this event, you thought it was going to be like the first one, because that's what it was. Here's also, for example, Pixniel, right, guys? So I swear, this is literally going out of their way to surprise us. So I cannot, you know, do anything else but congratulate Plarium for just pulling this off at the last second. So what I really want to know here today, guys, and yeah, this is a bit of a rant, who is affected by this? Who all of a sudden got screwed by the whole silver game, right? So my total amount went drastically up because this went from like being the same thing as the artifact enhancement number 2 instead of being like the first one. So like a difference between 9 million and 16 million is quite a lot, right? So you might be able to generate that silver. I know I won't have a problem, but what I'm thinking, sorry, is that some of you guys might have been caught by this. So what can you do last minute like this? We've covered this already 2 times in this mini series. You might want to try and just, you know, craft everything you have in the forge. That is going to generate a whole lot of silver. I'm capped out on the Magisteel right here, so I really need to get working on that. Then there's also, of course, just doing your entire sort of like cleanup, right? Get rid of all the old gear you don't need, and don't forget you can rank them up to level 8 to generate some points before you sell and still turn in a profit. And then there's also, of course, the offline method that you guys can try as well. So you know, hopefully you guys are still able to get this fusion this far into it. So here's the plan one more time. Again, I want to know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Are you surprised at the artifact enhancement event number 3 being a lot harder, almost twice as hard as the first one, even though it's the same length? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.